Hi Ben, welcome to the Talk with the Founder. Maybe you can start with a short introduction of yourself, what you've been doing, something about Light Blue, the pledge.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Ben, I'm the founder of Light Blue, also the co-founder of the Pledge on Food Waste. So I've been actively tackling food waste since 2013 when I realized that this topic was absolutely not being addressed, and I thought that there was an urgent need to do something in a structured way. And so I put together my past experiences and built a methodology and managed to convince the first hotel to try it. And from that point onwards, decided that there was no more important mission than this one in my life.
Kudos to you and all the hard work. I think that today the main topic is basically addressing why the event industry cannot ignore food waste anymore. So maybe you can talk a bit more about that. Like historically, you've been, like you were saying, working closely with the hotels and restaurants on reducing their food waste. But how and why did you decide to shift over to the professional event industry?
More than an entire shift is more of an adaptation. I think that there are loads of similarities. At the same time, there are some specificities for the event industry. But what is certain is that, well, it's an industry that is growing very fast and that is dealing with a lot of delegates and a lot of food. So it was kind of natural. It's always something that I was curious to look at because obviously a lot of people put together for a short amount of time and where they usually have very tight schedule is a recipe for a lot of waste. It initially started in our first attempt to tackle it was in the context of a hotel in Bangkok, where we decided to look at the banqueting division of their hotel. Very interesting. It was over a period of 6 months approximately. Then we decided to move outside of the hotel context, but specifically for events that are happening over one day. So we started with the Michelin Star Revelation, that was in 2019, where we built this methodology that we call Zero Food Waste to Landfill event. So the approach was pretty simple. We wanted to make sure that all the food surplus would be redistributed for human consumption, that the waste that was going to the bin was clearly segregated to ensure that it could be transformed, and that all measures were actually put in place before and during the event to minimize food waste. So this was kind of the first phase and our first foot in the door of the professional industry, professional event, and now we started to tackle much larger type of events.
I want to bounce back on, you were saying about the buffet and the banqueting, right, in hotels and restaurants. So why do you think the industry is so comfortable with that visual waste, and they have been for so long?
I think it's like in the hotel industry, it's kind of business as usual. You don't really realize why you do certain things until someone or ask why you're doing that way. Which was the same when I started. I was curious to understand why those existing practices and by challenging them. So first I had this blank look it is a dumb question, but then to me it was not when we were looking at the amount of food that was ending up in the bin. So I think that most of the time is a lack of awareness, a lack of paying attention, that brings the industry to to continue as usual, and it's also this genuine fear of missing out. You talk to even owners, organizers, or catering companies, like there is one rule, like you can never run out of food.
So next question would be, how did you adapt the certification specifically for the fast-paced, high-pressure environment of events versus maybe a standard restaurant or hotel operations?
Yes, so that's a good question, because there are indeed specificities. So there are two different things on the pledge on food waste. So initially the standard was designed for regular operations, so breakfast, lunch, dinner, Monday to Sunday, pretty straightforward type of procedures to be adapted to reduce food waste, prevent as much as possible, and redistribute and transform. In the context of the event, it was a bit more challenging because of the diversity of players, including external players. So first, there are quite a few servers that are casuals, even in the kitchens that are casuals. Then you have the request, the menu is different, the food offering is different and changes all the time. The time it is being served, the amount of time that the delegates have. So all those components were to be taken into consideration. It was also a question of what are the touch points that exist in order to engage with the delegate, to nudge them towards reducing food waste. And the overall logistic and the different type of stakeholders that forced us to adapt and I would say tailor and craft the criteria in a way that would really result in a maximum avoidance and redistribution.
And you're talking about the different stakeholders, so I imagine it can be harder or easier to actually implement those type of new processes, right, in order to prevent food waste. Did you get any pushback from, chefs, service teams? Like, how did the experience go in general, or how does the experience go in general with those team members and those stakeholders?
There are certainly pushbacks, and at the same time there is a lot of interesting, I would say, positive reactions. It depends a bit, because you always have, I would say, the those that are resisting change. This happens in any industry, whatever. Anything new is not desirable, because that means adapting, that means thinking a bit more, that means readjusting procedures and processes. So this always happened, but we also had some very exciting experiences. For instance, in Abu Dhabi, where the executive chef was very hands-on, very excited, very curious, wanted to know what could be done differently, wanted to get additional data, better understanding of, am I doing my job the best possible way? So it's really a question of mindset. And on the delegate side, I think that was the most exciting part, because the delegates, especially in the context of the professional event industry, those that really go and each month are in different type of congresses, they can see this sort of issues, and they can see that they are not being addressed, and a lot of feedback we received were very positive in terms of finally some organizations that are trying to tackle this issue, because it seems to be very much forgotten. It seems that the hotel restaurant industry has caught up on the sustainability and in particular on the food waste wave, but the professional event industry is still very much on carbon emission impact of plastic maybe, but food waste is very untouched. So for us, massive possibility to have an impact on in this industry in particular.
And as a follow-up question, so basically for those teams that actually need to, where you can have some pushback in terms of changes, what are your recommendations? Like, do we need to train them more, like being more sensitive to sustainability issues? What do you think are the key things professionals in this industry need to do in order to get their teams behind the whole mission of preventing food waste?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So as I mentioned, one of the challenges is when they require a lot of extras that are not belonging to the team, but still. So for us, from experience, what seems to work best with the teams to get them on board, there are a couple of components. One is awareness raising. Always start with why are we doing what we're doing, and typically why would this event be different. So giving them the right rationale, the right explanations, help them to accept that change makes sense. instead of being a new way of working that is pushed upon them, and they would be like, oh, okay, now I have to do an extra step. So giving them reasons to understand why this is being done is essential. Then I think that it is related to are the management team or the owners, let's say, of the event, are they keen to also play with system of incentives and rewards? We think and we saw that this seems to be very effective in creating a certain change of behavior. So this can take different shapes and forms, but recognition of the hard work, as well as I would call it labeling, which we did in several events, again in Porto recently, which is that the servers are being trained, and since they are also in contact with the customers, they're wearing badges related to Zero Food Waste event or the pledge on food waste, and they seem pretty proud of that. So they're kind of becoming sort of ambassadors, which is obviously something we want to achieve.
And how did you manage to get the delegates on board? Talking about the badges for the employees and the caterers and service.
The food waste warriors, as we call them. So we decided to create a system of engagement with the delegates, where we are calling basically for ambassadors that we call the food waste warriors to just commit to one simple mission. They commit to finish their plate throughout the event, throughout the Congress, for instance. So it's a moral commitment. Obviously, there is no check upon them, but when they accept, they get a sticker that they stick to their badge, and it makes them again some sort of ambassadors, and that way it put them in the shoes of I committed, I am dedicated to finish my plate. It also creates some conversational engagement with other delegates, and the idea is simply this: they are committing not to finish their plate and to try to nudge the other people or the other delegates to do the same.
I want to talk a bit more about the 64th ICA Congress. This is the latest event that was the pledge verified. Can you quickly walk us through like the methodology, the process, or even the key results? Yeah.
So that was a very exciting project. So it's in the context of our partnership with ICA. So we started with ICA in Abu Dhabi in 2024. And then, since the experience and the result were very positive, we decided to repeat again for ICA Congress in Porto 2025. So the methodology is we embedded all the right practices into pillars that are applied before the event, during the event, and after the event. So before the event, there are sets of requirements that are related to training of the staff, that are related to reviewing the food offering, that are related to communication with the delegates before the event, that are related to the food flow and the waste flow. So it's basically having all the right conditions in place so that the stakeholders are aware or trained, depending on if they are involved directly in the food preparation or food offering. It's about thinking in terms of flow of the food and flow of the waste, and setting up the system so that all the food surplus will be either not generated or saved in order to be redistributed, and the what is not safe for human consumption will end up in bins that are clean from contamination, so that can ultimately be transformed. So one of the key components also of this approach is a connection with the local ecosystem, because the destination or the convention center that is organizing the event would then work with those players so food rescue organizations, for instance, as well as food transformation or organic waste transformation organizations that would work with the event organizers to make sure that they are here on time to collect the surplus or to collect the food waste, to transform it and avoid it going to the landfill. So it's kind of an orchestration of different stakeholders, training, implementation of the right procedures, and rollout throughout the life of the event to ensure or to strive for zero food waste to go to the landfills and maximum amount of surplus food to feed people instead of the bins. Well, we're very happy about that because, well, first is a lot of credit to the local charity that we work with, because they were very responsive and they were coming late and with volunteers. They're not even getting paid for that, and to come with boxes and being able to collect all this food surplus and to redistribute it for people in need. It was this time around was a bit different with ICA, the event in Porto, because there was so many different locations, which makes the logistic much more challenging. But yes, very happy with the results. The quantity rescued were actually very impressive. And to me, it's a great achievement because it shows that even on that front, with simple process in place, this food is being eaten instead of going to the bin. So on the rescue side, that was a huge success. And we have been going much more in depth in terms of monitoring food waste, being even more diligent in capturing food waste that is generated from at the production level, at the buffet level, at the plate waste level, and the surplus on top. So we had roughly 4 different categories of food waste, and the content, the data is something that is badly missing for the industry as of now. There's a lack of benchmarking, there's a lack of systematic measurement of food waste. And this is where we come in with the FIT technology that is being adapted, and we're building new features to ensure that it fits the professional event industry and capture the right information, so that's the culinary teams and even the event owners can have clear reports on the performance of their events.
So what's coming up next? Anything exciting? Future congresses, product services that you want to push forward to actually prevent more food waste in the professional event industry?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, there's quite a few things we're excited about. Well, we're already starting to prepare for the 65th Global ICA Congress in Panama. So working with the same team, which we love to. They're always open to innovation and learning every time from what we did in Abu Dhabi, then in Porto, and to apply it in that new destination. In terms of type of solutions we provide, there are a couple of things. The first one is related to the technology. So we are constantly working on the FIT technology, food waste monitoring technology, to adapt it to the needs and the specificities of the event industry based on what they really want to see, what they really want to know. So capturing more data and being able to kind of educate the industry, or at least share and raise awareness based on hard data. So on the FIT side, it's pretty exciting. And then on the pledge on food waste side, so pledge on food waste for events, we decided that it would make sense to distinguish small and medium-sized events to large events based on the number of delegates, number of days, number of sites. So the difference is that for the small and medium-sized events, we will have the same methodology and same approach, but the level of depth will be slightly different, and also the requirements will be a bit lighter, in order for a larger number of event organizers to adopt this methodology and easily implement it and see results. So at the end of the process, when they save and upload all the evidences on the compliance platform, the main difference is that then they will ask for a verification process, which is happening directly by the pledge team. So the event of small and medium size will be the pledge on food waste verified. Now for the larger event, like in Porto, it will be different. The methodology process are the same, but the expectations are slightly different, more in depth, more evidences required. And as well, at the end of the process, it will be, all the evidences will be actually audited by a third-party body that will verify the compliance against the standards and then provide the results of the audit to define if the event is the Pledge on Food Waste certified or not. So that's going to be a pretty cool new approach, including with our compliance platform that is actually offering some very nice features, including on-the-go compliance, being able to snap pictures of evidences directly connecting to the compliance platform. But one of the exciting also new type of solutions that we're coming up with is that we see that the professionals in the event space want more training. They want to acquire knowledge, and so we're building technical modules for them in order to have a clear understanding of the issue of food waste and how does that relate to their day-to-day job, and what should be done in order to minimize food waste from happening in the first place.